Let's get over to Peyton.
Well, we had a lot of rain this morning, but we're about to get back into a long stretch of dry and much cooler weather. The next 7 days showing, well, after today, there was not a whole lot of rain in our forecast at all. We may see a little into next week right before Thanksgiving, but the next 7 days are looking mostly dry. Some impressive rainfall totals through the early morning hours. Picayune picking up about 3.2 inches of rain since midnight. Slidell just over 2.5 inches. And keep in mind, a lot of this fell in less than an hour. Just under 2 inches at the lakefront and out in Kenner, and then further down towards the Gulf of Mexico. This band here, and fortunately I don't have any official weather stations anymore down here, picking up anywhere from 3 to 5 to even 6 inches of rain. We saw flooding in Grand Isle from the rain, but also from some higher than normal tides. So it was a bit dicey all morning long across the area. That's what's left of the rain. In fact, there's still quite a bit left of it, but it's moving off to the east here. It is going to be a very soggy afternoon in the Florida Panhandle. Here at home, though, the dry air is coming in, and the first of 2 cold fronts have now moved through. So that first front has come on in, but the cold air is lagging so far behind. We're not going to get that until tomorrow night. And so Wednesday is still going to be a relatively mild day and fairly seasonal. Now that cold air, it will be noticeable. And I'm talking actually, you're going to have to get out a coat probably by Thursday morning as that cold front and the 2 cold fronts pass on through, and boy, do they send the cool air all the way into the Gulf of Mexico. So our hour-by-hour forecast today's still warm. We're in the 70s right now. We'll probably get to 81 or so. Going to be a gorgeous evening, a little breezy with a northwest wind at 5 to 10, but that's knocking the humidity down. We'll wake up on your Wednesday morning with beautiful weather. 50s north of the lake, 60s here on the South Shore. Now the cold air, it's building. It's been trying to build all fall, and we just really haven't had it. So this is our first big dose of cold air. It's in the 30s up through the mountains here and in the plains. It's not any where we're seeing really frigid conditions just yet, but that cool air is going to be making its way towards us. Now, eventually, this has got to get dislodged and come towards the U.S. When does that happen? Well, models are thinking we may have some bigger outbreaks of cold air into the last week of November or into December. I mean, naturally, we're getting into later and later into the fall season. And so, yes, negative 31 right there in Eagle, Alaska. So the cold air, it's building up. When does it actually start to come down? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, the cold air, it's not super frigid, and we don't have a freeze in the forecast with this cold front. So it's going to move in tomorrow afternoon, and then we're going to be in the 60s all the way through Saturday. We'll have 3 solid days of below normal temperatures and much cooler mornings. So once again, tomorrow morning, not too bad. It's probably going to feel quite amazing. We've already had mornings cooler than this. Now, Thursday morning, I've got some 30s and 40s wrapping around the lake here. Look at Thibodaux Thursday morning, 41, 46 Belle Chasse, about the same Friday morning. Saturday morning is probably going to be our coldest one, where we see a lot of 30s north of the lake. We might even see 1 or 2 30s try to creep down into Upper Lafourche or down into Ascension or Assumption Parish, and then 40s across the metro. Now, one thing for sure, Thursday morning, it's going to be a little windy still, and so I think you're going to have to get out the coats because we're going to have wind chills. That wind will have a bite to it, and we could feel as cool as or cold as the low 30s north of the lake, even some 30s trying to wrap down into Lower Lafourche. Now, Saturday morning is the actual coldest, and that's when we have a slight frost potential north of I-12. I don't see any freeze with this one once again, but I do think we have a light frost potential Saturday morning if you live north of I-12. We're talking Folsom to the north, Franklinton, Bogalusa, or even further north of there. So down here south of the lake, you don't have to worry about any of those plants just yet, but it is going to be chilly. Be thinking about your pets. They're like us. We're not used to really the cold temperatures. And so most of them probably need somewhere warm to be the next few mornings, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at least. But your afternoons will be beautiful and sunny in the 60s. Heads up for the marine forecast. We still have the storms moving east out in the Gulf. Rest of today is dry for inland locations. Winds are going to be gusty out of the south, switching north, and north winds tomorrow staying gusty. Luckily, if you were dealing with coastal flooding, that is improving now with that north wind kicking in. High tide's still going to happen in the early morning hours, though, and low tide happening this afternoon.